Welcome to build 674 of the cancelled South Park Xbox game. I no longer own this game, but I've had this video sitting on my desktop for, well, however many months, year it's been. So I thought I'd do this video and finally get it off of there. The game does have a main menu here, but all of the options are just random letters, so it doesn't really tell us what the main menu options would have been. Well, at least some of them anyway. It would seem that at least the multiplayer mode options are there, giving us a listing of all the multiplayer modes that probably would have been in the game, including Mailbox, Baseball, Hit, Grab and Run, Capture the Flag, Cops and Robbers, and many, many others. Of course, these selections don't actually do anything, nor do the difficulty modes, and in fact, the game does crash when you select certain things. It is fun to look around the main menu though and move around the camera a little bit. It shows you just how a main menu may be constructed. It's kind of like a diorama project where you only see what you want to see and nothing else was made. Back to our debug mode, we start with the vehicle test. Stan is our playable character here, and along with him we can see some buses and Hummers laying around the level, thus vehicle test. We can hop in some of the vehicles and even drive them around while we look for the first item that the game requests from us. Very quickly though, we find out that we failed the mission and failed to collect the first item. It is fun though to drive around this world because there's a lot to see when you think about it. You can see that the world was kind of laid out, even though the textures are very much placeholders, and really everything is placeholders, like you've probably come to expect from these builds. The multiplayer selection unfortunately crashes the game like we saw earlier, so we're going to move on to Mission 3, Chocolate Salty Balls. This mission would have us go talk to Chef about his balls, but unfortunately I never found Chef when I was looking around. In fact, when I used the free cam mode to try to save some time, I still didn't find Chef, so he could be anywhere. I could have missed him, but really, I just never found him. Mission 2 has us playing as Cartman. Our goal is to drive to school in the minivan, which happens to be a Hummer in this case. Unfortunately, driving to school doesn't do anything, but hey, you can see that they were working on missions still. Mission 1 is probably the most interesting out of all the missions that were selectable. The game tells us to finish HQ and go to the Bible. And then we head over to our pal Artemis Frog, who seems to have gained the ability to float in the air just like our Holy Bible before it. The game wanted us to pull a lever, but it seems to happen automatically, which would result in a player intro, which also doesn't exist. Supposedly we'd be in the treehouse and we must exit to our minivan, which is, yes, again, a Hummer. We can drive around and find the other school children, including Kenny here. The game would then have us drive to Stan's house, to Kyle's house, back to Kenny, and then finally to the town square to register for a scavenger hunt at a booth. This segment is a little bit long, so it's going to be a little quiet while it goes on, especially since the game doesn't have any sound effects, so I do hope you can sit back and enjoy and check out the town in this early build of the game. Once we get to where it wants us to be, it tells us mission 1 complete, and that was it. Checking out this smoke test now. In the smoke test, the game jumps around to different areas of the map, essentially trying to see what sort of failures are occurring throughout the world. The key to this smoke test is that the game does load where it's supposed to load, and that was probably what they were aiming for. Of course, I can't confirm that, so I don't know if they were testing for other functionality, but since things were so early, I'd imagine that they weren't testing for much. Back again to the main menu when we go to the final export option, which is a big gray world where we're playing as Cartman and we're hopping around, jumping into another version of Cartman. That's about it for that test, so we move on to the character test. The character test level shows us some buses spawning. Stan is once again playable and the other boys are sitting still. You failed the test mission shows up, and there are buses in different spots of the map. But again, not a whole lot going on. We do have this last test menu with a bunch of different options. Marshall G starts us at the bus spawn with Stan playable. We can see Chef, Kyle's dad, and kids. But there are also eyes just floating around in the world. It's kind of creepy, honestly. We can drive the bus and even try to run into the characters, but not a whole lot happens. It is notable to see that the bus does have sound effects, or at least a sound effect. This world also seems to be a different version of what we've seen before because we have some textures on the road instead of the pavement worded texture thing that we saw before. This mission will make your eyes bleed as a stunt arena map, with vehicles and the boys around the map. I'd imagine that this would be used to test the physics of the world, but again, not a whole lot going on. John K. once again has the boys and some buses in the world. And the Howard D has Cartman, Kenny, and others in a different stunt arena that is much glitchier, especially with the tires. This build is not yet done with its surprises, as we are moving to the Greg R test mode, which gives us a playable Mr. Slave with the boys and more randomized in a test box level. The Eric B test mode is the same as the Greg R test mode. Ed's test mission home starts to load with Cartman and a bus until it gives us an error. Ed's test mission has us destroying the fence with Cartman. There's more glitchy graphics here. And after we destroy everything, there's nothing else to do, and it's very, very easy to be stuck in the walls after this. Derek W is the same as Marshall, and Anna B once again has Mr. Slave. But with that, our adventure with the South Park unreleased Xbox game is coming to a close. Unfortunately, there was no other content on the Xbox hard drive related to this game. Between Liam's video and my own, we've learned about all that we can learn about this game without finding more builds. I do hope that someday more content will show up for this game, and hopefully I will be the one to be able to bring it to you. Until that time comes, do check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/p2ponline, and I give special thanks to all the fine people who continue to support me after all these months. Do hit that subscribe button for more in the world of canceled and prototype games, and until next time, thanks for watching.